What's up guys, and welcome to this Photoshop tutorial. This video is on a concept design for EAFC25 that's coming out soon. This is normally like an annual kind of design that I do every year for my LFC page. Just have a little bit of fun with it and put an LFC player on the cover. So I hope you enjoy it, but without further ado, let's get started. I'll be running you through kind of the steps I took to get to the end product. So to start with, I got the PS5 logo that you have at the top of any game case, just so I had the layout sorted, and then I got dropped my Trent Alexander-Arnold image into Photoshop, and then I went to Camera Raw Filter and just played around with the shadow and highlights, the clarity, texture, and yeah, as I say, you just kind of play around with it. There's no set kind of thing that you have to do in this. There's no like numbers that you have to follow by. Just do it to what looks nice, what you think looks right for you and for your design. And then I went into the adjustments tab and went into shadow and highlights. This is what I normally do for most of my subjects, and I normally keep it in the range of about 15 to 25. I think that works well and brings out the best of the subject. So next I created a new layer, which is also like an added thing onto the shadow and highlights, and you go to edit, fill, and put it to 50% grey, and then change the blend to overlay, and then we go down to the burn tool, which brings out the shadows, and literally just colour in over this. As you can see, I'm doing it now. I've sped it up because obviously it's quite a long, tedious process sometimes. But yeah, and then once I've got the shadows looking nice and dark, I went to the lighter tool. I can't remember what the name is right now. That's really bad, but forgive me. Now I'm just painting in the highlights, and look, you can see the difference there. Just brings out the sharpness and just makes it look a little bit more arty, as you may say. More of a design than an actual image. As it is a FIFA cover, you want it to stand out a bit more than just a usual image with not a lot of kind of character to it. And then I went to add a colour lookup, which is 3-strip look, and I reduced it to about 50%. This just adds a bit of saturation and vibrance to the subject, which I do again to most of my my players that I edit on. So yeah, I'm happy with how it's looking at the moment with the colouring. And again, I also add sometimes another colour lookup, which is Foggy Night, and I put it to lighten. This just softens the kind of overall look of the image. Yeah, and again, I was just playing around with the opacity to what I think looks acceptable. So next I went to subject and wanted to cut out Trent Alexander-Arnold from the background. Again, I sped that up quite quickly as it's quite a long process. So now he's away from the background. The purpose of me doing this was, well, later on in the video you'll see why I did this, but it was to allow the EAFC logo to kind of fit behind him, but also allows me to add some highlights to him individually and not affect the background layer, as I'm now putting in a kind of lens light just in the top right corner, just to add a bit more depth to the cover. And here I'm just adding an exposure layer, put the exposure up and inverted it by Command I, and yeah, just painted in some of the highlights to add a bit more realism to Trent Arnold with the light coming in on him. As you can see, it just adds that. It just adds that depth, and it looks a lot more realistic now with the light, and just adds a bit more character to the design. So now I'm just adding in the Peggy info at the bottom there, that obviously every FIFA EAFC game has. So as I was mentioning before, because I cut him out, I wanted to add the EAFC thing. Behind him at the start, I was kind of just playing around with where I wanted to put it, but in the end I think I resulted to kind of mixing the C, merging the C like in between his arms, which I thought looked quite cool. Here I'm just using blend if to take away the black background and just to bring out the green, which is obviously I just want the text. And then obviously convert it to a smart object so you can directly edit it after that, and change the color, which I did with color overlay. Here I'm just kind of playing around with a few of the colors and just seeing what looks best, but don't worry, I didn't stick with red, it doesn't look good right now. And then I've added a bit of drop shadow in, reduced the opacity, just makes the text stand out a bit more and gives it another layer ahead of Trent. So at the moment it's looking pretty good, but I just felt there was something, it just looked a bit basic with the writing just slap bang right on front of Trent. So I got the erase tool, and no, I didn't get the erase tool. I actually created a mask and inverted it, and then used the black brush to rub out the part of the text that I didn't need. And here, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted it to look like it was going between his arm, but then it looked like his arm was out of place and it was like overhead of it, and I didn't like that, so I went back and tried to just change it up by making it look like it's just going behind his back, but in front of the arm, if you understand what I mean. And a good thing with masking it, obviously, you've got something, maybe you painted over a little bit too much, took away too much of the text, you can just literally just invert it back by clicking X and going back to the white brush and colouring back in the text that you took too much away. And here I'm just getting a circle shape and putting that behind, as I lost a bit of the quality using the blend if when I took the black background away from the text. So I just put this behind, used just a thick stroke to sharpen around the circle of the EA Sports logo. So next I went to my textures folder and got some particle overlay, and I added a linear dodge overlay to that, and just to blend it into the piece. And now I'm adding the Hypermotion 2 logo that it basically is the engine for EAFC. I know you have that on the front cover of their games, normally in the bottom right corner. So again, I used a blend if to remove the background, convert it to a smart object, and use color overlay to a black. But I didn't think this it didn't really stand out enough, so I wanted it to have a white background, a white text color. So then I created an exposure layer, inverted it, brought the exposure down, and used a white soft brush just to color in just a bit of shadows down the bottom right corner, just to make it stand out. And there we have it. There is the final concept EAFC design of Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I think it looks pretty good. Let me know what you think down below. Obviously I'm a massive Liverpool fan. It would be so cool if a Liverpool player could be on the front cover of a EA title again. Hopefully he can. I think Trent could definitely be a contender for that in the next few years. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys. Have a good week, and until next time.